What's happening now?
Right now, we're seeing those people I mentioned earlier, the guys with red hats and white T-shirts that say "I love Hong Kong," starting to remove the barricades. They're using cutters to cut the plastic straps that are holding the barricades together. And you can see behind me here, they're at work. There are quite a lot of them. I would say several dozen, maybe several scores. One lady I talked to said she thought that maybe there were 100 of them, all acting together to remove these barriers here. Unlike yesterday, where we saw a very deliberate action by bailiffs to remove the barriers, remove the wooden pallets that were making up the barriers. Today, we saw these workers who say that they are employees of the Taxi Association. Those are the plaintiffs that were granted the injunction to clear this stretch of road here in Mongkok, Nathan Road. They say they're employees of the Taxi Association and they're here to clear the road today, and that does appear to be what they're doing this morning. Just a few moments ago, there were verbal confrontations between student leaders, Joshua Wong taking to the barricades and a microphone and having verbal confrontation with these red hat group of people, and the police had to stand in between to separate the two groups. Now the red hats are at work removing the barricades, and I expect for a little bit of time. A lot of people in the Malay, protesters there resisting, and also all caught on camera by the very large number of cameras and press that there are here on the scene right now. Quite a lot of between the people removing the barricades, the red hats, and the protesters as well. They're not going to make this an easy one today, John.
And Ros, you've been covering this now for 10 weeks of this. I mean, are you witnessing any aggression in the streets?
Clearly of the streets and the protesters themselves. Right now, there's quite a lot of pushing and shoving here as the red hats continue their work to remove these barriers. And the police are trying to keep the groups separate, but it's a difficult job because there are so many people in this area right now. The police do seem a little bit to be taken by surprise this morning when the Taxi Association officials were actually searching across the road to come and stop. And now there was a bit of a crash, moving out of the way onto the pavement, beyond where the clock is. So I asked my cameraman to move this way, and you can shoot over there. You can see the police moving in to break up some of the scuffles. And then you'll also see some of the red hats now being moved out of the area. The red hats are moving out of the area.
Ros, you probably can't hear me, but I'll just ask a quick question. Ros, you know, if you can hear me through all that crowd in the background, just one question is, in the past there have been reports overnight that the police use CS or tear gas. It seems to me that they have not used that. What have they been using? Have you talked to the police today?
Yesterday evening, they did use pepper spray on some of the protesters to push them back when they tried to take over a section of road that had actually formerly been open. And they said that they did not use any tear gas at all yesterday. Now, today, of course, it remains to be seen what will happen as the day unfolds. This is already quite early in the morning still, and already there's been quite a lot of scuffling and confrontation between various groups here. And it looks like things could heat up throughout today, John.
We've also heard, Ros, that the Hong Kong Monetary Authority said that 5 branches of 5 different banks in Hong Kong have been shut as of 8 a.m. this morning. One of those includes Standard Chartered in Mongkok, where you are now, also Bank of East Asia. Do you see, as you look around the streets again, barricades going up against shop windows for fear of glass being broken, etc., and banks shutting down gradually throughout the morning?
I mean, right on this junction where I am now, there is an HSBC bank, a large branch of it, and also a Citibank. It's unsurprising if they're not open today because of all the crowds and the possible confrontations that could happen here. So far, though, I haven't seen boarded up shops, but I have seen shops actually close their shutters and close for business today because of the expected action that could be taken today, and also, of course, the confrontations that could also happen between various groups here in Mongkok.
Now, for those who are watching from afar Hong Kong, Nathan Road is pretty significant. Can you explain how big a deal this clearance is on this very busy road in one of the busiest parts of Hong Kong?
Well, Nathan itself is a major thoroughfare. It's got a lot of heavy traffic along it pretty much all times of the day. It's also an important shopping street. It stretches all the way from TSC all the way down in the south part of Kowloon, all the way along it, quite far along. And there are shops all along this stretch of road, jewellery shops, fashion shops, banks and the like. And we're being moved out of the way by the police. Excuse me for one moment. And though for some of the businesses around here, it has impacted them because they've obviously not had as much foot traffic perhaps as before because the roads were blocked for a long time. There have been also various groups like taxi drivers who haven't been able to say that their earnings have been impacted because of the road closures, and of course there have been many traffic snarls and traffic jams because of the actual blocking of the roads. So there are many people who own businesses around here who make their living off the roads who will be very happy to see the occupiers get off. That the road.
Just looking through there, just lost a bit of technical difficulty there as well, as you can see. Right in the melee, if you like, of the crowds that are being pushed. The pictures you can see on this busy Nathan Road, again, just a few loudspeakers there. The students, no doubt, addressing the crowds as well, and the police also moving in. Ros, again, just to go back to you if I can. You're hearing these, loudspeakers. Is that from Joshua Wong, the leader of the students again? Are the students speaking out? Is it the police speaking out again? Or is it indeed small businesses who've been angry for the last 10 weeks about the lack of, or the fall in business again? Who are the ones leading this?
Well, earlier Joshua Wong, the student leader, the 18-year-old Hong Kong schools leader, was addressing the crowd. On the other side, the people wearing the red hats, they seem to have one or two leaders with loudspeakers who are verbally jostling with each other. The student leaders were basically saying, reiterating their stance that they want democracy in Hong Kong and what they're fighting for. Now,
you can see again, for the difficulties there technically. Look back to the pictures you can see so far, the video. This is again, just to remind the viewers, this is Nathan Road, one of the busiest parts of what is Mong Kok, or TST if you like, Tim Chat Choi in Kowloon. And it seems today, of course, the injunction being carried out again, and therefore the barricades are being moved after what has been 10 weeks of protests amongst the students. You can see the police are moving in gradually. It began this morning at about 8:30 a.m. Hong Kong time, again, I can tell you, about just about an hour and a half ago. It's been a fairly intense crowd, as you can see from this. Currently, as you heard from Rosalind Chin, they're just braving herself through the crowds, as intense as it is. Just talking about the students, again, addressing the crowds. Joshua Wong, of course, you see the waving of hands there. The crowds are in. The police are being fairly passive. No tear gas, no CS gas, and so far this morning, no pepper spray has been used either. But again, that could change, as last night we heard, of course, pepper spray was used in jet-fueled water sprays, if you like. But that's the situation so far. More on that as the show progresses this Wednesday morning.